Hi guys, well it's Friday and hope you're all doing well. How are you getting on? In this video we'll take a look at just how low companies have had to stoop because Brexit supporting politicians, mainstream media, self-centered commentators and YouTubers have behaved. Now quite frankly I'm neither bored by it nor am I shocked by their antics. But I am saddened that their approach is still working and it blindsides the people from the truth, and so many still listen and accept it. Now, the phrase compassion for the conned and contempt for the con man is no longer appropriate and it's no longer helpful. There's an old saying that says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Well, it's time to start taking back control of the asylum from the patients. It's time to hold those responsible to account. By the way, the images you're going to see in this video are the stock levels that were in Waitroses in Rugby today, the Friday the 7th. Okay, so they were down to about 40% with bottled liquids down by about 90%. So let's go. Now, as we're all too aware that the centre and far-right numpties have spent the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks blaming everything that is happening on the Pingdemic. Now, from farm workers to factory workers to truck drivers, they never shut up blaming everything on the app. Not the virus, mind you, just on the app. They had spoken about the bureaucracy of the EU, the stupidity of the isolation rules. In short, they had simply identified a new thing that they had jumped all over it and are still clinging on to it. Now, their desperation, to malign those telling the truth is now so acute that rather than concentrate on the essence of any news that tells it as it is, they're more likely to jump down your throat rather than face the consequences of the economic implosion that is staring us right in the face, without any doubt. But now that has all stopped. The industry sent the warning shots across their bows a number of weeks ago when they said a total collapse was a real possibility. Well, guess what? Things have happened. You see, when companies are doing okay, they tend to keep quiet. But when they're not happy campers, they will shout it from the rooftops. And now they no longer need any amplification. Nothing at all. You see, the price war has begun for drivers. The fundamental and basic principle of all economics is that when demand outstrips supply, prices rise, therefore consumers get screwed over. But as the boys in the industry are not stupid, they're making their move swiftly and they're making their move publicly, and it simply cannot be denied by the Farage fools or the Boris buffoons any longer. There is a shortage of drivers. End of. It's official and without doubt has nothing to do with the Pingdemic. The John Lewis partnership is going to start paying their drivers up to an additional $5,000 a year in efforts to tackle the current labour shortage. John Lewis and Waitrose drivers will receive a pay increase of £2 per hour on their base salary. Now here's the thing. Normally when you hear stories like that, you hear, and we're going to implement that very soon and it's going to happen in 3 months or 6 months down the road. Not this time. John Lewis are instigating that from tomorrow. From tomorrow on. They're not even waiting for the end of the month. They have to do it immediately. Okay? In addition, the group will also offer a 1,000 sign-on bonus to the drivers who have the C and E licenses. And they'll get that 1,000 bonuses up until November of this year if they join, because they know they can't get them on time. And they said that they were responding to the national driver shortage by ensuring our drivers are paid competitively, and then by investing in training for the future. That's what Mark Robinson said. But this is just get the goddamn drivers. We need the drivers, because if we don't have the drivers, we're screwed. So these changes means to them that they'll be able to continue to serve their customers well and get them the products that they need. Now, they already employ about 900 drivers, and they'll benefit from the pay rise. That's going to cost them about 8.5 million by my calculations. In addition, the company is planning on setting up a driver training program for existing employees and new recruits that do not have LGV experience but wish to become drivers. Okay, now, Robinson said there's never been a better time to get behind the wheels for Waitrose and John Lewis. That may or may not be the case, I don't know. But the move was initiated following a similar announcement by Marks and Sparks, their logistic partner Gist, earlier this week. But it could be bad news for Marks and Sparks because they were only offering a 2,000 sign-on bonus with up to a 3,000 bonus for a total of 5 grand, but that's over a couple of years, whereas the other boys are up front. So finally, and at last, the gig is up. The comedy routine is over, and the people on the street are going to learn the truth. And we, I believe, have a responsibility to hammer home that truth. We have to do that in order to effect some change and force the politicians to sort out this mess. We need to call out these commentators. We need to call out the YouTubers who found another thing to blame. We need to call them out for what they are. They are liars and they are charlatans, and that their fake insinuations that they trot out like an endless treadmill of toxic tripe needs to be laid to waste. Okay? Now, I've always believed that the pen is mightier than the sword. It always was, and I believe it always will be. So let's use them. Let's write to your MPs. Write to the newspapers that act as the messenger boys for their puppet masters, and make one statement and ask one question. But before that, let me just give you how important that is. There are 39 seats in the House of Commons where the majority is less than 5,000. And half of them have got a majority of less than 2,000. So they're borderline. Now, last month, the sweet maker Haribo came to the forefront when it said we're not able to get drivers. They didn't blame it on the pandemic. They didn't blame it on the Pingdemic. They scoffed when people said it's because of EU bureaucracy. They said at the time, as is the case with many manufacturers, retailers, manufacturers throughout the country, they're experiencing challenging with regards to nationwide driver shortage. And they were working with partners across the whole food and drink industry to address that problem. And then we found that one of the oldest companies in the UK saying exactly the same thing. We have the biggest supermarket in the UK saying the same thing. Now, the message to the politicians is simple. Your party said publicly that the driver shortages were a result of the pandemic or the Pingdemic. This is patently untrue, as now you can say haulage industry is having to bribe existing drivers and offer inducements to others to join them because there is a shortage. They warned you about this shortage and you ignored it. They highlighted the dangers and you ignored it. So I have just one question to you, Mr. MP. Why did you lie to me? Now, it's that simple. That will get the message out there. Take for instance, if like Max's channel or Jeff's channel or Daily Blase's channel or Michael's channels, if the subscribers from those channels within a period of just 1 week, wrote to the MPs of those constituencies, or to all Conservative constituencies, they would receive up to 400 messages asking the same thing in just 1 week. Now, if they were to send the messages just to the marginal constituencies, those 39 I spoke about, those guys would get up to 4,000 messages in 1 week. That will frighten the crap out of them. So I'm going to leave a link to the description of the MPs of those 39 in the marginal constituencies. So, but thanks for watching. Please make a comment, please subscribe, and take care, and I'll see you on the flip side. Take care now. Bye-bye.